So yesterday's class, yesterday in the sense, last week class we have discussed about how to handle exceptions, right? So how we can handle global exceptions, how we can handle, you can create customized exception class, and we have seen right last class. So here, so now let me start the server. Let me start the server. So server started successfully. Now let me go to browser and then let me log in as a local host. Find all employees or host colon h2 iPhone database h2 iPhone console. So password will be admin. So why it's not logging in? Yeah, it's logged in. So employee, if you click on employee, so as of now there is no records available. Let me create employee last time. Okay, let me create an employee. Let me create employee one. Sachin Tendulkar. Let me create another employee two. So now let me send it. So two employees are created. Let me run that query. So we have inserted two records, right? So let me find the employee. Find all employees. All employees. Search. So find all employees. So find all employees always will accept get request, right? So let me select the get request. Let me send. So currently we have total two employees. So if I search any specific employee, find employee slash one. So I'm able to get the employee. So find employee three. So what it will return? So it will return Y3 not found. So see, you can see the error message employee ID 3 not found in database. So we have handled this exception, right? We have handled this exception with the help of response entity exception handler, right? Response entity exception handler. Similarly, you can write here as many number of methods which you want to handle in your application level. So we might have practiced it, right? So now let me uh, start today. So let me go to browser. So today we'll start validations. So server side validations. So validations in the sense. So if you want to, if you are sending Rohit without data, so you are not sending without data. So what will happen if you are not sending without data? Send request. So employee three. Okay, sorry. This is find employee, right? Let me create employee with empty values. Create employee. Okay, so it should be post request. I am sending the request with empty values, creating the employee which is having first name and last name, empty values. So what is happening? It is created. So employee is created without sending first name and last name. If you go and check in database, let me run this. So you can see first name also storing with empty values and last name empty value. Why? Because when I'm doing creating my SQL is having this create table is having not null, so all are nullable fields only. So first name nullable, last name nullable, mobile number nullable, email nullable. So what does it mean? So without sending the data, so without empty values, so you will send the parameters, but you will not have the data. So first name, you are having the parameter, but property of the employee class object, so as property of the employee, so you do not have the data. So first name is not there, last name is not there. So let me create one more. So as many number of employees you can create without having first name and last name, this is invalid, right? So since it is invalid, we have to handle these validations in our server side programming. So generally, data validation will be done in both client side and server side as well. So far we have not working on client side, right? So currently we are working on server side programming only. So we can do validation in server side. Whenever any data which is going empty values to your server, so we should not allow request actually without sending the data. So what we have to do for that, we have to we have to do uh, validation, right? So for that, what we can do, go to your pom.xml, go to your pom.xml, and then so there is a dependency to perform validations. There is a validation dependency in Spring Boot application. So starter dependency, you can see Spring Boot hyphen starter dependency. There is a dependency called validation. What is that? There is a, see, you can see Spring Boot starter validation, Spring Boot starter validation dependency. Okay, Spring Boot starter validation dependency. So once you add the dependency, it will download automatically to your local Maven repository. So after adding this dependency, so now go to your employee class objects, employee model object. So model, so here what you can do, so whenever any data, so let's say if you pass null, so let's say if you pass null values without having data. So let's say from the client or consumer by mistake, he is not sending the data to our server. So without sending the data to our server, request came without data, we should not allow the request. So what will happen now? See employee is about not blank. So bad request. So it is saying bad, sorry, because I have missed the comma here. Let me send the request. Message, see null value, see it is having error, exception came. Why? Because we have not sending the data to the server. You can see employee ID, mobile number, something like the mobile number. So big int, okay, 4 as I think characters I sent more. Mobile number is expecting integer, but we are sending the null values. So that is incorrect. So whenever you are sending any data to the server without having in proper values, so based on your database table creation, whether it can throw exception, whether it can insert the data also. So let's say, let me send something mobile number. Now let me send the request. So now what is happening? So what is the next? Yeah, integer employee email ID. So it is expecting email ID. So email ID, send the email ID. Something gmail.com. Let me send the request. So and again, what is happening? Email ID, employee ID, primary key. So primary key might be it's already created. So that's the reason it is trying to ask another primary key. So even if you don't insert the data, even if you don't insert the data, don't having the data, your server is allowing to insert the data. Let me insert another record 7. See, record is inserted successfully. If you go and check the database table, you can see, so those all the records are inserted null values. null. Even if you don't send the data, so server is able to insert the data with null value. So we should not allow to store null values in our database table. So based on our requirement, you have to perform validations. So whenever you are creating employee, so generally employee should have employee name, right? Without employee name, you should not insert the data. Without last name, we should not insert the data. Similarly, without mobile number, email, and age, these are all mandatory during the employee creation. Let's say these are all the values are mandatory in database. So what you have to do? So you have to validate it. You have to restrict inserting the data. So what you can do? So since it is a long, what I will do at the rate, there is a annotation, field level annotations are there. You can see we have added a validation API, right? We have added validation API, Jakarta.validation API we have added, right? So you can see validation dot constraints. So it has not null, not empty, not blank. So let me put not null. Similarly, this is a string, right? So I will give it as a not empty. Okay, similarly, there is annotation called not empty. So since it is a long, then not null. So since it is a string, not empty. So I'm giving at the rate not null and not empty. So there is a different kinds of annotations are there. You can see you can go to inside this not null. So you can see here. Let me go to show you the package here. If you see left hand side, so there is a validation API which has number of clauses: asset, false, digits, email, future, and max and min, and not empty, not null, null, and past. So to check the date whether it is previous date or not. And here there is a another past or present. So this will allow previous date and present date. And pattern, so you can check the pattern. For example, if you want to validate your email or name without having numbers. So generally name will not have numbers, right? So to validate there is a pattern. So similarly pattern or zero, similarly size. So many classes are there. Interface that validation API contains these many classes. You can see these many classes are having validation API. So what you can do? So based on your requirement, you can give respective annotation as part of your bean class property or model property. So we can restrict invalid data insertion in database. We can restrict invalid data insertion in database. So let me try in this case what I'm giving here. So ID should not be not null, and the first name should not be empty, last name should not be empty. So there is a lot of annotations. You can see left hand side number of annotations are there. So depends on your requirement, you can use it. Okay, so now let me try this. So what will happen? So let me stop the server and let me start the server. Now server started successfully. Let me go to browser and let me create, sorry, postman, and I am going to create employee again. So what will happen now? See, still values are inserting. Still values are inserting. So you can see, go to your H2 database and then login it as a admin, then connect, go to your employee. So see, null values are inserted. Why? Because so we have added validation dependency in form.xml, and also we have added field level annotations to validate our data. But still your validation is not happening because go to your controller, employee rest controller.java. If you want to perform validation if you want to perform data validation on your employee model object, okay, so you have to declare an annotation called valid at the rate valid. Just you need to import Control Shift O. The moment you click on Control Shift O, so imports will automatically imports will organize automatically whenever you click Control Shift O. So if you want to validate your model class object, you have to perform three operations. If you want to validate a model class object in server side, so what you have to do, you have to perform three steps. What is that? Very first step is you should have dependency in pom.xml. Spring Boot starter validation dependency you should have in pom.xml. Let me go and show you again. So this is the dependency. You have to add this dependency in your pom.xml. This is first step. Another step. What is second step? So next step. So you have to enable field level validation. You have to restrict data, invalid data. How you can restrict? By specifying respective annotation. By specifying respective annotations. So for example, if it is long wrapper type integer, something like that, then you can specify not null. And you can specify, if it is string data, we can specify not empty. Here also you can specify not null as well. So either not null or not empty. So you can specify respective annotations in field level. So next, now, so even if you add the dependency, even if you add the annotations, still your validation is not happening. So if you want, what is the third step? Go to your REST controller. So before in your controller, request will come from the client. From where it will come? So it will come directly to your controller. So very first place here only request will come. So here if you see, so to validate your employee model object, so we have to specify at the rate valid annotation. So before request body, okay. So now let me stop the server and let me start, because I have removed dev dependency rights. That's the reason. So let me start the server again. Now server started successfully. Let me go and create. So let me check H2 database now. Admin, very easy guys. You just need to remember validation dependency, Spring Boot starter validation dependency. So currently there is no data available in H2 database since I have restarted the server, and then now I am sending the request. See what will happen now. I just send the request from the client. So what is happening? It is saying bad request 400 in the sense bad request. Response code 400 in the sense bad request. So now data validation is happening. So server is not allowing to insert the data. Server is not allowing to take the request itself. So whenever it's trying to go to the request to the controller, whenever you are sending the request, so dispatch server trying to send the request from this to the controller. So controller is not accepting your request. Controller is not accepting your request because there is a at the rate valid annotation is specified. So your data is not matched up to the mark. Your data is not properly sending from the request. Okay. So now let me try. So but let me try. Okay. Later I will handle the messages. So let me try now. Let me give first name it as a Virat Kohli. Virat. Okay, let me send the request. See, still bad request. So let me pass last name also. So let me send the request. Still you are getting bad request because I am not sending the mobile number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So similarly, email. If you send the request again, bad request. So you have to fill all the data properly. See now, again bad request. So what I have to do? Virat at the rate gmail.com. So now I have I am sending all the data properly. For ID, I am sending first name, I am sending last name, mobile number, email, and age. So now, if I send the data, you can see I got the success response. So returning one in the sense, what does it mean? Data is inserted successfully. So now let me try to insert another value, another record which is having I am passing null id as I am passing it as a null. So let me send the request. See, it is clearly saying bad request. So now data validation is happening in server side. So now let me create Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma. So I send the request. So both the records are inserted successfully. You can go and check in H2 database. So now data is inserting properly. How you can perform server side validation? By specifying validation dependency in pom.xml. After that, you have to define your model object with the respective annotation, which are all validation you want to perform. So not null in the sense it should not be null in the should not in it will not insert without data. Okay. So empty. So empty also. So if you send any, so let me try empty. What will happen? Check here. So empty. So if you send empty with null values, empty. So it is saying bad request. So let me send first name as a null. What will happen? See, still in bad request. So what does it mean? At the rate not empty, annotation can perform both, it can check both null and empty. This annotation can check both null and empty. So that's the reason our data is not inserting in database. I am sending first name as a null. So request is not accepting. Our server is request is not accepting. Let me send empty data. Even if I send null values and even if I send empty data, so our server is not accepting the request to insert the data. So now I will send Sehwag. Now it will try to insert the record. The record is inserted. If you go and check, so record is inserted successfully. This is how you can perform server side field level data validation. Field level data validation. Now, so let's say you have 20 values. So let me send the null. So actually what is happening here? It is saying bad request. So now instead of bad request is, see, generally what will happen? So client don't know, right? Client don't know, end user don't know what bad request, in the sense he doesn't know why it is sending bad request. So generally we have to think about end user perspective. We have to think about consumer. We have to think about client. So those people cannot understand what is bad request. So what we have to send? We have to send proper message. We have to send proper message. So how we can handle that? Let's go to our exception handler class. So exception handler class. So currently it is throwing bad request, right? So now what we can do? So field level validation messages we have to display properly. So go to exception handler class. So there is a set of methods available, right? See, handle, you can see field level validation. So if you want to perform field level validation, let me check. There is handle handle let me method, something like that, handle method. Yeah, missing variable or handle. You can see this is the generic method. You can see here, handle method argument not valid, exception. See, handle method no argument not valid. There is a method available in response entity exception handler. So currently it is throwing exception as a bad request. So what we can do, we can override this method. We just need to override this method in our exception handler. Go to exception handler. You just need to remember handle. What is this? Handle method argument not valid. So now let me override this. What you have to do? You have to override. Otherwise, it will always execute a superclass method only. If you don't override, what will happen? It will always execute superclass method, right? So you can see so handle 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 method argument exception. So if you don't override this method, so for exception handler is our class, right? This class is extending response exception handler. If you don't override respective method, it will always execute superclass method. So now that's the reason I'm overriding it. So here you no need to override. So what we are doing here, we are handling with @exception handler. So that's the reason here we no need to override. We no need to define it as a @override. Okay. So since it is we are defining with exception handler, we no need to declare it as a override. So here we are not throwing any exception. So what we are doing it here, we are doing data validation. We have to show customized messages to end user. So for that reason, this is not exception. This is we are just overriding to display error messages to end user. So now let me copy. So this will always this will not give our customized user message exception, right? So what for that, what we have done, we have written our own custom class, right? Our own custom class. So let me override same thing here. Let me override same thing here. So here, so we should not use application error. So we should not this is not exceptions, right? We have to show error messages. For that purpose, we should not typecast. Okay, we should not typecast because it is just a field level validation. You just need to format the code, control A, control shift F. So that's it. So now how we can display exception error message? So what is the response status for bad request? So we have to handle that bad request, bad request. That's it. So now how we can show the error messages? You can see currently it is giving generic error message. Currently it is giving generic error message. So let me try. So let me stop the server and start the server. So still I have not customized the messages. So I am still sending default error message. So what will happen now? So let me send the request with null values. What it is saying? So you can see it is saying now validation failed. Validation failed for argument 0 public int controller first name. Are you able to see, right? So you can see now what is happening. It is clearly saying validation failed for argument 1 in public controller employee first name. Why? Because I am sending null value. Since I am sending null value, now server is returning with proper error message. First name is invalid. It should not be not empty. You can read the error message. See, default message must not be empty. So what is this? Default message must not be empty. So what we can, so instead of must not be empty, what I will do, let me show some message. So field error message. So here if you see, there is a very very big message. So this is also not look good. It is showing very big message with default message not empty. So now what I will do, I don't want to show that message. So now, so there is a exception, right? So here ex dot guess message. Who is returning this error response error message? Who is giving this error message? In your exception handler, there is a exception ex dot get message. So there is a method, right? Ex dot get message. That message is coming from here. So now what I will do, so instead of throwing generic exception, so there is a set of methods you can see. Get field error, you can see get field error, get field error. We can perform validation now. See now get message. That's it. So what you have to do? So handle method argument not valid here. Instead of throwing generic exception, generic error message, so what you have to throw? You have to display generic field error message. Field error message. So what is the method? Get field error method dot get default message. That's it. So now let me stop the server and start the server. Let me try now. Very easy, guys. Based on your requirement, you can add as many number of exception handler methods, so you can write very easily. So only thing is that you should know the concept. So now let me send the request. See now what earlier how message is like that, how message looks like earlier, and now how it is. Now it is showing must not be empty. Clearly it is showing must not be empty. So this is the simple change is removing that very big message, right? So now again still I have a problem. What is that problem? So I send the request, it is saying must not be empty. Why it is not saying which value is not empty? By looking, first name is null. So but at the same time we have to send proper error message, so must not be empty, but which field is empty? So we have to show that as well. So now what I can do, let me go to employee. So let's say first name, so there is a attribute called message. As part of not empty annotation, there is a attribute called message is equal to string. Within here you can see first name, you can write your message based on your requirement. You can write the message first name cannot be empty. First name cannot be empty. So now, so instead of every time server restart and restart, let me enable the debug. Let me enable developer tools in pom.xml. Otherwise, whenever I am doing modification, it is I need to always restart the server. I don't want to do that. So let me enable dependency. DevTools dependency. What is the use of DevTool dependency? So whenever you are doing modifications in your classes or properties files, so you no need to restart the server. So your changes will reflect automatically by enabling in the DevTools Spring DevTools dependency. Okay. So now let me go and send the request again. You can see here now server is responding with proper error message. What is that? First name cannot be empty. It is clearly saying first name cannot be empty. So since it is we are sending null, it is saying first name cannot be empty. So can let me, or else some people will give generic message. Generic message in the sense, let me go to employee model object. Where is employee model object? Employee.java. So how you can open the file? If you are not able to find the class here, how you can open? Control Shift R. If you just press Control Shift R, then one open source resource window will open. Here you just need to type whichever class you want to open. Your class will appear here. So just click on that. So instead of first name not empty, invalid first name, or please enter, or please enter valid first name. Please enter valid first name. Okay. So now let me send the request again. See now, please enter valid first name. So what will happen if if I don't send last name? Let me send. Still it is showing please enter first name. Okay, so first, until unless if you don't fill this first name, you will not get the error message of last name. Until unless without filling the first name, so last name error message you will not get it. So now let me fill the first value, Rasul. So let me send the request. See now, must not be empty. So now last name is being validated. What we need to do again, we have to define in custom message to end user. Message is equal. Please enter valid last name. That's it. Please enter valid last name. So now let me go to request and then send the request. So you can see please enter valid last name. This is how you have to validate your model object, and you can show end user with custom user defined messages. So end user or client or consumer can easily understand the message which you are showing as part of response. Okay, so there is number of validations are there that you can practice, guys. Okay, so I will not explain all those things, so you can practice all those things. So if you want to validate your data based on your requirement, you just need to specify. So each class will have its own, see, you can specify size also, you can specify size also. So let me, I will show you size, so remaining you can try. Okay, so let me go to employee. So let's say instead of not empty, what I will do, I will specify let me commenting out. Okay, let me comment it out. So let me show you at the rate size. So what you can do here, minimum value. So minimum value you can specify. There is a set of attributes. So how do you know how many attributes are available in size annotation? Control space. You just need to click here, put cursor inside the bracket and just control space. If you do control space, all available attributes it will show. All available attributes it will show. So there is a min and max. So what I will do, I will do min is equal to 2 or 3 or 1. So anything, any number I can specify. Min equal to 1. So what I will do, let me go to server and then which property I have declared it as a minimum one, last name, right? So let me last name, I haven't specified any data, right? So let me send. So it is saying size must be between 1 and any. So size must be between 1 and, so this one also showing size must be between 1 and some junk value. So I don't want to show that junk value. So what we can show now here, so just by specifying message attribute, so what we can show, so last name should be based on your requirements, guys. So whenever someone is giving requirement to you, right, based on their requirement, they will tell you what kind of message you have to show. So based on their requirement, we have to modify our code and we have to send the respective message which they are required. Okay, so currently I will show last name should be minimum one character, minimum one character. So this is the error message I want to display if I use with at the rate size annotation. So now let me go and send the request. See, last name should be minimum one character. So now let me add one character. Sorry, Control Z. So let me add in one character. So now it will allow. It will allow. See, request sent successfully. Data also inserted in H2 database. You can see, let me log in. So whenever changes are happening, our server will restart, right? So that's the reason we need to log in it again. So you can see data is inserted. So this is how you have to validate field level validation. And also I have shown you many examples. If you, some people again they will ask, so tomorrow sir I am not able to see, these are all the classes. So if you're not able to see, what you have to do, so just click on that not empty, let's say click on the control. Someone is as sir, as for me some options are not showing. What you have to do, whenever if you want to see any options related to annotation or your specific methods, so what you have to do, you have to press control. You have to press control and put cursor. That's it. Press control and put cursor on respective annotation. It will show you link. It will show you it as a link. Just click it. That's it. So now after that there is a, you can see here, link with editor. There is a option in project explorer. There is a option called link with editor. So select the class, put cursor anywhere in, select the class and just click on link with editor option. You can see here I am clearly showing link with editor option. So whenever you are selecting link with editor option, so it will show you where this class is available, nothing but in which package this class is available. So this package is available in, so this class is available in jakarta.validation.constraint. Inside that you can see as many number of annotations. Based on your requirement you can perform your data validation. Okay guys, so okay, so now 5:46, 6:45. Okay, let me cover another topic then. So now you noted, right? So how to perform the data validation? Let me summarize. So data validation, if you want to do data validation, you have to specify in your pom.xml, very simple. In your pom.xml, you have to specify dependency. You have to add dependency. What is the dependency? Spring Starter validation dependency. Spring Boot starter. See, initially when Spring Boot not opened, so let me go and where I have stored MP Spring Boot by Rasul Sheikh. So let me open. You can see here. So if you check here, so initially when I show you, right, initially I showed you clearly Spring Boot starter hyphen parent. So here why I have declared, so there is as many number of Spring Boot starter dependencies. There are as many number of Spring Boot starter dependencies. So if you see here, I have given two examples, starter web and starter data JPA. So similarly, another, this is common actually, Spring Boot starter, and only here respective dependency will name will change. See here, if you see Spring Boot starter data JDBC and Spring Boot starter web module, Spring Boot starter validation module. So as part of Spring Boot application, there is as many number of Spring Boot starter dependencies available in our Spring Boot application. So based on your requirement, you have to define your dependency in pom.xml. So now we are talking about validations, the field level validations. To perform field level validation, we have to add validation dependency in pom.xml. This is first step. So what is second step? You have to declare the annotations. You have to specify respective annotations in your model object. So next, still your validation will not enable. So how you have to enable? So by specifying at the rate valid annotation along with your model object in controller. That's it. Similarly, wherever you want, you can validate. For example, here there is a find employee. Here also you can specify at the rate valid. And similarly, uh, update employee. So whenever you are trying to update the employee, so here also you can specify at the rate valid annotation to perform data validation. While insert also you have to validate, while search also you have to validate, while update also you have to validate. So based on your requirement, wherever you want, you just need to specify along with your model object at the rate valid. what you have to specify at the rate valid annotation along with your model object. So this is how you have to perform field level validation. So now let me go to another concept. So we have 10 minutes. Okay, let me complete another concept. So 10 minutes we have, right? So so far, what kind of response? Let me find the employee, find employee slash one. Okay, one is not available, right? So method not allowed. So what is the get request, HTTP request method? Get request. So employee one is not available. So three, let me try three. Three, I think three is available. Yes, three is available. So you can see whenever we are sending the data, so what we are getting as part of the response, we are getting JSON response, right? We are getting JSON response. Some people, some consumers, or most of the consumers or most of the clients, they will ask, boss, I need a XML response. I don't want JSON response. Why? Because their web services always allow XML response. So that's the reason some of the clients or consumers expecting XML response as well, not only JSON response. I want XML response also. So how we can send XML response back? So there, this we can call it as a technically we can call it as a content negotiation. Some people will ask you in interview. So what is content negotiation? So negotiation in the sense content negotiation. Content negotiation in the sense, so it can data format type can be JSON, data format can type can be XML. So you have to tell content negotiation in the sense data type of format which server has to return as part of the response. So now I want to send a response back as XML formats. How we can do that? So if you want to return XML format, very first we have to add another dependency in form.xml. What is the dependency? I did not remember, but exact dependency name I forgot. Let me go to Google. So anything if you forgot or if you don't remember, just go to google.com. That's it. So what we are talking about, data, right? XML format. So Spring uh, format. Sorry, there is a Jackson, J-A-K, Jackson format XML and a dependency. Just type format XML. You can now if you type Jackson format XML, there is a Jackson data format XML dependency available in Maven repository. Just click on enter. What you have to do? So Maven repo. You just type Maven repo. So now will get first link, very first link. Whenever you are type Jackson format XML Maven or Maven repo, anything you can type Maven repo, Maven repository, or Maven. So you will get very first link. Just go to click here, and then you can see number of versions, different kinds of versions are there. So always go with I think this is not stabilized version, so go with the 2.15. So let me go this, let me use or latest one. Let me try latest one, whether it will work or not. Let me try this October 21st. Yeah, very recently released here. This one I think very recently, October 21st, 2023. This version of dependency is released very recently only. 21 in the sense, I think November. Sorry. October 21, I think last Saturday only it is released. So let me try with this latest one. So just click on that. So there is a dependency. You just need to copy the dependency. That's it. Copy the dependency and go to your pom.xml and add it. How you can format? Control A, Control Shift F, and then save it. So what will happen whenever you are adding new dependency, it will try to download. It's downloaded and our server also restarted. So this dependency downloaded, and let me try to remove the version. What will happen? So yeah, perfect. So whatever latest version, it will pick automatically, and this dependency is being added as part of our Maven repo. So Maven repo dependency is added. So until unless there is no red symbol, if any errors shown here, so dependency will not add. Okay, so there is no errors. So dependency is downloaded successfully. So after that, what we have to do? Go to your postman. So if you want to get XML response, if you want to get response as XML, so you need to specify an header. So go to your header. There is a number of parameters available. Header, what is that header? Accept header. You have to specify the accept header. So one more thing. So far I will show you one more thing, guys. So some people, sir, every time why you are using a postman, I don't want a postman. Some people will ask the calendar. So most of the people are ping me. So, sir, use calendar always, not postman. So let me show you in calendar API itself. Okay. So calendar API is one more plugin, guys. So you just need to install it. So how you can install? Go to your browser. Just to go to your browser and type almost 10 people or 11 people are pinged me to show how to install Talent API. Okay, just type Talent for Chrome. Talent for Chrome, and just click on that button and then go to there is since I already added, so it is showing remove from Chrome. So if you are not added earlier, so it will show you add to Chrome. So you just need to click on that button and restart your browser. So there is icon right side, there is icon. So here you can you can see Talent API tester. So just click on it, it will come. So okay, so now see here, one guy is asking me Talent API. He keep on last Saturday. He is also 1,000 times, I think approximately 1,000 times he pinged me. I want to test from Talent. So then luckily I got that time yesterday, and then I shown him uh, find employees APIs and all. So you can see. So how this is here also same, nothing but. So if you want to if you want to send the request to your server, you just need to specify the URL as per the browser, and there is a, you can see here, any REST client you can use, whether Postman, whether Talent, or there is another REST man also available. So many REST clients are there. So you can use any REST client. You can use any REST client, and you can perform your you can invoke your REST APIs. Okay. So let's say this is one Talent API. So find employees already there. So find employees will do. So you can see content. So XML. So by default it's already selected. XML accept. So let me send the request. Find employees. So I just send the request. So why it is giving 500? So that means our server is not ready. So let me check why it's not ready. Check the console. That's it. So what it is saying? Employee not found. Table employee not found. Why table employee is not found? So let me go and check. Still it is working, right? So let me send the request again. What will happen? Let me stop the server. Sometimes it will not reflect after adding the dependency. Let me start the server again. Let's see, server started successfully or not. Server started successfully. So whenever any exception comes, you should feel very happy. Okay, so now let me send the request. Find all employees. So still it is giving application statement error. So select star from employee not found. Why find employee is not found? Let me go. Let me copy the, go to your controller and copy the your API. What is that? Find employees. Let me try. So if it is method error, that this error will not come. So it is clearly saying select star from employee. It went to the controller, select star employee is not found. Why not found? Let me check H2 database console. Let's log in H2 database console admin. So what you have to do? First you have to check admin. See, it is not allowing me. Server is not able to connect. Why? Let me check. So after adding the dependency, we got this error. So let me check. H2 console is enabled. H2 console is enabled. Database. Why memcache? It is giving it is created a new database available. So it's not available. So why? Because I might be. So let me go and check properties. So you have to debug, guys. So what is happening? So whenever you send the request, so let me go to the talent API. What is happening here? I just click on send request. What it is saying? Employee not available. That means whether it can be data when it is trying to execute your query, that time employee is not available. So why spring.h data enabled? It is enabled true. Employee db, so it is specified. What is the password? Admin. Even if you add properties, still it is generating new one. Why it is generated a new one? Let me try. Okay, let me try with this URL. We'll see later. Let me copy this, go to your browser, and then let me try connecting with this URL. And what is the default username it is giving? Yes, yes. So it is not connecting our local database. See, it is connecting default database. So what is the root cause now? Let me check. So go to pom.xml. So what you have to do? Before that, first check, very first check. What you have to do? Go to your pom.xml and then come down H2 in memory database. So H2 in memory database, it's already there. So it's not showing whenever I am trying to access our application. Let me stop the server, go to your properties file. So let me check employee DB employee database. I have declared it as employee database true. So true also there. Let me restart the server again. So basically, it should not create a new instance, right? So it is creating new instance. Even if we add this property, so this is our database which we have defined in our local, it's not enabling. Why? Let me try now. Go to pom.xml. After adding that latest dependency, we got the problem. So let me try removing dependency. So what will happen? Pom.xml. I just want to remove the dependency which we have added recently. Which one we have added? Go to this one. Let me disable as of now. Okay. Control yes. That's it. So here you should not. Okay. So it's not commenting. So let me remove as of now. Control yes. So what will happen? Server will restart again, right? Server will restart. So server restarted or not? Let me try restarting after removing the dependency. JDBC H2 console. Now let me run the server. So it is not picking our application.properties. That is the problem. It's not picking. See, now still it is going JDBC colon H2 mem colon database. Yes, yeah. Why? Let me remove that also. Starter.web starter validation. We have given this validation also. So let me, what we can do, we'll try Maven update project. So whatever recent dependency which is added, it is creating problem. So that is might be not stable. Let me try updating our project manually. So updated. Let me start the server again. Now, yes, you can see. So what is the problem here? It is so after adding that latest dependency, what is the dependency we have added? So data hyphen Jackson hyphen data dependency. So sometimes whenever you are adding dependency, that time this Eclipse having problem actually. This is not builded properly. Eclipse is not builded properly. So your all the jars are not uploaded properly. So that time what will you have to do? This is Eclipse problem, guys. You no need to worry. What you have to do that time, these kind of issues, how you can resolve? Right click and then go to Maven, and there is a option called update project. What it will do, just click on force update. So what it will do, it will again try to reversioning all the jars which are downloaded in your local Maven repository. So it will reversioning again. So what will have a reversioning in the sense, it will re-update automatically all the jars. So now what will happen? So whatever problem you are faced earlier because of the jar was not updated properly, see now we are able to connect employee database. Okay, so this is just a build issue, you no need to bother about it. So to resolve that issue, what you have to do, just right click on the project. I am showing you again, guys. So whenever you are facing that issue, Marvin, and then just click on update project. That's it. So now what I can do, let me go to browser and then send the request. What we are trying to invoke the API, find all employees. Let me send the request. So what will happen? So now see, it is giving XML response. Why? Because accept, there is a header. So there is a number of headers are there. So if you add header accept, so you can see if you click on header, you can type, you can see content type, you see number of headers are there, content types, or content location, if you want to fetch a language specific response. So if you want to encoding, if you want to content length and content location, so different kinds of headers are there. You can see authorization also. So these are all the things you can learn later. Okay, so not now. So what I will do, so now content type, so currently accept, I will remove this accept. So content type we have to specify, right? So content type, so by default content type. So let me send without specifying, what will happen? So it is saying 200. So now we are getting empty response. Why? Because there is no data available in our H2 database. So now let me create the employee. So to create the employee, so again I need to copy the JSON. So let me open Postman. There we are already having, right? I will just copy that format of JSON to create the employee. Otherwise we need to rewrite again. So create employee, right? So bodies contains raw. So I will just copy the JSON and then go to browser, and you have to call create employee API. Create employee API. That's it. So now, so what is the request, HTTP request method? If you want to create the API, post request. So post request should have the body. I have pasted. Okay, given different solid there here also. So Rasul A and then 3. So let me create one employee Rasul. Send the request. So let me check the response. So you got the success response. So 200 in the sense employees created successfully. So let me find all employees again. So what will happen? Now send the request. So you can see not blank, method not allowed. So what is the, see, whenever exception comes, you should not get panicked. So what it is saying, method not allowed. What I am trying to invoke find all employees. Find all employees API always will accept get request. So let me send the get request, send request. So now we can see JSON it is returning. So now what is our goal? So we have added in pom.dependency dependency data format.xml. So we want to fetch a response as XML format. So for that, what you have to do, you have to type, just type accept. If you type, there is a header, you can see there is a set of operation as part of the header. So as part of the request will have body and header and address. So as part of header section, you can see headers section, whether postman or here postman also, we can see the header section. See, you can see headers, number of headers are available. You can see here, you can see all the headers. Similarly, you can see talent API also. Here also you can see, but here they are not showing by default. You have to type manually. So you just need to select accept header. So then here I want to send JSON. So if I give by default uh, accept application slash JSON, server will respond always JSON. So if I give accept header as a application or XML. So what is the type? Application or XML. If you give value as application slash XML, application slash XML, if you send the request, you can see response will come as a XML format. So now you can see, right, response came as XML format. So this is how we have to get the XML response. Guys, I think you got understood, right? So how we can get the XML response? So end user or consumer or client, all the people, anyone based on their requirement, we have to send the response. If they want a JSON response, we have to send JSON response. If they want XML response, we have to send XML response. So Spring Boot always by default will return JSON response. So if you want to send XML response, we need to add in additional dependency, an additional dependency, which is data format XML dependency we need to add. So after that, whenever you are sending the request, as part of the request, you have to send the header, request header you have to send. What is the content type? What is the request header type? Accept. And what is the value? It should be XML slash XML. So then if you send the request, so it will always give XML response. This is how you can get XML response, guys. Okay. Thank you. We'll connect tomorrow.